All right, PI status and PI waivers. Okay, so PI status is limited to the academic council and med center aligned faculty. All others have to obtain a PI waiver per the RMG policy. So there's, I think that folks have put in the chat here the information that you can get on how to put these together. The policy, how to determine PI eligibility, and then there are detailed resources for each different kind. I think the one you probably see the most often is career development. And look here, there's even a template that you can download and then customize for your particular PI situation. So to obtain a PI waiver, what are the steps? How do we actually shepherd this through the process so that we can get it to RMG on time so it doesn't hold up our proposal? So you go to the website just like I did, and you can read the different types and figure out which one applies to your particular situation. Download the template, you revise it with the project specific details. You do that in coordination with your PI. You maybe give them a starting point and then they revise it from there. First place it goes is your faculty member's division chief for signature, or department chief if you're not in Department of Medicine. But in Department of Medicine, it's your division chief. And then after that, it goes to Dr. Harrington for the department chair signature. And you can usually work with his administrative assistant. She's happy to help you get those signatures on. And then from there, it goes to your RPM at RMG, and they will get Dr. Harry Greenberg's signature on it, and then your PI waiver's in place and you're done. So that's the nuts and bolts of how to do it. I think I have some info saved out here, just an overview of the process and a link to the website, but really the website's got everything that you need. And it describes each of these 7 types in detail so you can see which one applies to your situation. Contract proposals, these are a little bit different. They're less formal than federal and nonprofits. They often don't have a deadline and the funding is not negotiated. It's just, there's no competitive review. It's not like a peer review panel scores it and determines who's gonna make the funding threshold or not. But you would collect the same information from the PI as with the federal award, and you would route the PIF. And then the RPM is going to help you determine. So once you get that info over to the RPM, they're going to help you determine whether it's going to go to the Industrial Contracts Office, whether it's going to go to Clinical Trials, RMG, or maybe it's just a data use agreement and there isn't that much going on with it. So a lot of different options here. I did want to show you guys, we've got some resources saved if you find yourself in a situation of doing industrial contract proposals. We've got some links of some of the different flavors that are out there. And then, you know, the contact people, there are some decision trees, and there's a really helpful chart here, who will handle my agreement, that kind of helps you to know what's going to happen. But, you know, we talked, just like we said, the research administrator role is you collect everything you would for any other proposal and route the PIF. And then from there, that's when the central offices are going to kind of help you navigate. Data use could end up being data use, could end up being materials transfers. There's lots of links here to kind of direct you to more resources depending on what might happen. And again, this is getting back to, you know, Debbie's comments about how improvisational this can be. It's not a one-size-fits-all process. We also have saved in here some information on IPA and JPA agreements. If your PI has some involvement with the VA, there may be these agreements that you need to put through. They go through OSR. OSR does have checklists on their website, and we've got some saved here to kind of get you started on what kinds of questions you need to answer to set up an IPA or JPA. But my amazing colleague, Ben Luong, actually put together these summaries about just what is an overview, what is an IPA, how do you initiate it, and then she's got some really great tips down here about the IPAs and JPAs about like what are some of the common questions that come up that aren't in the process flow. Like be sure you include fringe benefits, vacation into your budget for your IPA, but there's no indirect rate, for instance. You know, and then what happens at the end? IPAs can either be expended or returned back to the VA. There's a lot of good information here to help you kind of frequently ask questions if you're doing an interpersonnel agreement or a JPA agreement. So there's also, sometimes there is a letter of rehire involved. So we've got a template out here. If your division manager says, I need a letter of rehire, you can go to this folder and it'll get you started. And there's actually also a budget calculator out here. that can help you to put together the budget for your IPA or JPA. So lots of tools here. If you find that you're working on an IPA, JPA, definitely come out here, take a look at